All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? How you doing? James Corbett here, Project Refit with Dan, Wade, and the one and only Greg the Hulk Williams. He's Sergeant Williams to many. He's an Army veteran. He'll tell you all about himself today. It's going to be a really great interview here. We're going to talk about while he was in, when he came out, and the moment that he felt like he was for his life. If you don't know about this man, you got to look him up and watch his story on YouTube. The Army fucking did a story about this guy because of his actions in combat. So he truly is the embodiment of a fucking superhero to many of us. And he looks at us like we're his comrades and his superheroes as well. So it's kind of cool to be able to have that back and forth between the two of us. Real quick, as always, I like to remind everybody that FML means for my life, not fuck my life. So Project Refit's all about being for your life. And today we're going to have Greg give us a moment where he felt like he was for his life. We're going to get to that moment where he recognized he was for his life and kind of like get into that whole story. Now, a quick update for Project Refit. We have our golf outing tomorrow. Big day. We have like 140 plus people that are going to be there. Absolutely insane. Cannot be any more grateful. We've had some really incredible help from a lot of volunteers. It started out with just a few of us, and then it expanded into a ton of volunteers ended up jumping in and pulling a lot of weight, and it's incredible. So it's a real honor to be a part of this. I say that all the time. Project Refit. I know I'm one of the co-founders, but I still can't believe I'm fucking a part of it. It's unreal. So thank you to all of you who are watching, all of you who are a part of this and have tuned in, shared stories, and helped us literally save lives. So with all of that said, Greg, brother, talk to me. Give us your story. When you were a kid, what made you want to go in the military, why you ended up in the military, what you did in the military. Tell us about, where did the military touch you? Point it to the doll.
Hold on.
Oh, great. He's getting a fucking
nobody
phone
wants
call
to call
live.
me until
Here we go. Of course.
Until I'm live, right? And now like I'm Mr. Popular.
Now
I see you're in an interview. Am I on TV right now?
That sounds like some old ass house phone too.
Yeah, that is like a house phone from the 90s, bro.
Is that really a landline?
It is, man. I keep a landline.
That's some real shit.
Holy crap!
Yeah, because
okay.
Out where I live, I'm in kind of a dead zone, so cell phone doesn't always work. So when I have to call the VA or I got to call somewhere where it's 15 minutes of computer voices, before you get to talk to a real person, nothing pisses you off more than being there on the cell phone and it drops the call and you're like, damn it. So yeah, landline is a must. So
got it.
First, thanks for having me here, guys. Appreciate it. Those of you that are tuning in that don't know, I served with Wade there for quite a while. I was with 117 Infantry through the 172nd Striker Brigade. Then we reflagged as 125, and I was in 15. I was in both HHC and Alpha Company. I did multiple tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. But let's go back to what's for my life. To understand what your life is for, you got to know where your life came from. Yes, my mustache is the shit, Chris.
That's my boy Saunders. That's my boy Saunders.
Yo, that mustache
isn't this a handsome group of white guys?
All right. I feel that. What's up, Chris? You're handsome
anyway,
too, bro.
Back to for your life.
So, you got to kind of, if you're for your life, you got to know where your life came from and what your life is about. And to do that, you kind of got to build up a center of view. And, my life growing up, we all grow up in our own hardships in life. Some are different styles of hardships. Poor people always think the rich people have it easy. The rich people think the poor people have it easy. Everybody struggles in their own types of hardship. Just because yours may be different doesn't mean it's not just as difficult for somebody else. I grew up in our messed up foster system. I did have a few good foster homes, so I want to put that out there that took care of me, but a lot of them were pretty messed up. And my mom was a heroin addict, alcoholic, a prostitute. She's in and out of jail. I got taken away when I was young after I was beat and raped, along with one of my little brothers. My other little brother, who I met when I got out of the military, is actually watching us right now, Dave. And it's crazy because everything I've done in the military, him and I, when we were in Afghanistan, were right by each other. And he's got 2 Purple Hearts just like myself, and he's got a Bronze Star with Valor. So it's crazy that 2 guys grew up away from each other in almost the same type of environment, grew up, went through the military, and had, pretty well established military careers. But I grew up beat and raped, and in some of the foster homes and group homes, they'd pit us against the other foster kids and bet on us for fights, and sold as a prostitute when I was younger and stuff. So like growing up, it was hard. And when I talk to some of the kids at the high schools and the middle schools, I always get asked, hey, if you could change anything, would you? And, as messed up as the stuff I went through was, I would not change one traumatic event, because if I did, that traumatic event might not have built, the discipline or the strength that I had in some of these firefights or incidences that, saved someone's life. Or I might not be here today if I didn't have that strength built up from that abuse. So, we got to take our traumatization and not use it as a crutch, but turn it around and use it as a strength. Look at it as, just like for my life. Hey, this built me. This is who I am. I survived that. And now I'm going to push forward knowing that I'm that much stronger because of that,
Amen. I actually agree with that. I think that's something that is overlooked all the time. And I say it to a lot of vets, man. I think you probably heard me say it before, Greg, that I think that veterans have the best opportunity out of many people as soon as they begin to realize that everything that they went through has made them actually able to handle almost anything, any kind of bad situation, if they allow themselves to, and actually work themselves to that improvement point where they can handle all the, the stress and the bullshit that comes along with life, because, you've been through the worst of it. And you go through it, and you just got to give yourself that chance to embrace what happened to you and molded you into who you are. So as long as you're not a piece of shit, and it sounds like you're not, like you could have chosen to be a hateful, angry individual, whether you were, you weren't, you've grown, very obviously you've grown. And I just like you say, you're grateful for everything you went through. I mean, like, I'm grateful for all the hardships that I've been through myself. So I get that to an nth degree. I understand that. And I really appreciate that outlook, man. I just want to say that.
Yeah. It builds you. You could either let it define you as a poor me aspect, or you could let it lift you up and use that as a strength. You got to look at it in one of 2 ways. You could use it as a detriment and coddle it, or you could be like, man, I survived that. Now let's push on to the next thing. Yes, right, exactly, Ski. Victor or victim, 100%.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Dan?
Got a sneeze or yawn. Schnon.
Got it.
That.
I thought Dan was. I thought Dan had something to say. But Chris, hell yeah, King of Kings. That's right, bro. He is definitely the real fucking deal. So, Greg, I mean, when you went through all those things, and and even into your decision to go into the Army, I'm like, what was it? Why did you decide to do that? Like, what was the defining moment for you to really join into the military?
So, growing up, especially as a teen, man, I was a knucklehead. I got into some gangs, especially living in Southern California. Got locked up. I was out on the boys' ranch for a while, finally got into a decent foster home that got me into FFA and wrestling and football, and, splitting wood on the weekends and bucking hay for a summer job, so I started building up life skills and stuff. And then I was getting ready to turn 18, and the foster system told the foster family I was with, hey, he can't stay there with you guys through graduation. As soon as he turns 18, he has to go, or otherwise you guys lose your license. So this is like in the middle of my senior year. So we found a wildland firefighting crew and through the California Conservation Corps that did a high school graduation program. If you had enough, it's almost like a adult school kind of thing. You can go work for them, earn college credits, and have a job and get your high school diploma. So I finished through that, and then the war kicked off right after 9/11. And so, I was like, dude, I want to be a Marine. And so I did. I joined the Marines before the Army because the Marines, in my head was toughest basic training, toughest dudes out there, and hands down the best looking fucking uniform. I mean,
and
you walk in,
argue that.
yeah, you walk in those Marine blues, and every woman in the pub anywhere, just moisture just gushing out the dress, But after a bit of time in the Marines, I always joke. I say that I got booted out because I didn't like the taste of crayons and I could read. So, but when I was 14, I got arrested for having pot and coke at school, and I thought it was off my record because it got pushed under a misdemeanor. Like I did some community service, and it was just off the record. And so, yeah, I didn't think anything about it. So, I listed all my other ones. So I'm there at Pendleton with the 1st Marines Division, and the gunny comes up and goes, "Hey, we need to go have a meeting with the CO." And my background check came in, and they're like, "Hey, this popped up, and you didn't say anything about it, and there was no waiver for it, and instead of just doing the paperwork, they're like, you have no integrity, and there's no place in our Corps for someone without integrity. We could lock you up for 5 years and give you a $25,000 fine for lying on your application." I'm like, I was 14. I legit thought it was off my
not
record.
On the record anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a misdemeanor that I did community service but because I guess I took a plea bargain was the whole reason it was still there.
Damn.
Well, I was arrested at 14, and it was completely expunged, and that was still just for federal jobs. It's still on your record. I had to get a waiver for when I got arrested when I was 14 for the Army.
Yeah,
and then I tried doing the Marines first, and they wouldn't take me because of it.
Yeah, I was 18, and I did not know. I was like stoked. I went through basic. I'm with the 1st Marine Division, like one of the best Marine groups out there, and I was just like, yeah. And then they're like, yep. So they chaptered me out, and then I went to the Army recruiter, and the Army recruiter's like, "What do you want to do?" I told him, "Hey, I just got chaptered out there. Hey, we got something for you." They're like, "We're going to do these waivers and yada, yada, yada. We'll get you
signed in 2 weeks."
And they're like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to be a ranger, man. I want to go over and blow shit up and kill people." Was exactly what I told him. And of course, my recruiter, I won't forget it, out of Rio Linda, California, Sergeant First Class Timothy Adcock. Man, can you imagine having that name as a soldier?
Adcock, attaboy.
But yeah, he was with the 75th, so he was like all about it. And I ended up in basic training, as when you go in as 11 X-ray, they kind of just make you whatever they deem. So they're like, "Hey, we know you had a RIP contract, but here you go. You're going to Alaska now, homie."
Damn.
I've been there.
So what happened? Give us some more, man. What else is going on as you're going to Alaska and everything? And
so I went to Alaska, and I
Yep.
I had a great career there. I made a lot of good friends. I've been blown up a total of 27 times and shot twice, caught on fire. I received 2 Purple Hearts my first deployment. We did 12 months in Mosul, and then got extended to Baghdad to help out 4th ID for another 6 months. We were one of the first units. Actually, we might have been the very first unit to get extended, especially for that long. Most units after that did 15 to 16. I got out of there on the second wave, which was just below 17. So, but that went through, and I did another deployment to Iraq, another one to Afghanistan. Really picked it up, and then ended up getting med boarded out for physical and mental health stuff, which killed me because I was the military, I loved it, and a lot of the soldiers that worked with me will even tell you, I always looked out for them, and Sergeant Will may be a dick, but he'll make sure you're taken care of. And
Greg, what was the difference in your deployments? Like you've gone there multiple times. What was the difference in each war, I guess?
All right. So This is going to be deployments and me as a person and growing as an NCO. So there's variation there. So the first deployment I deployed, I was a specialist, got my corporal, and then made buck sergeant when I was over in Mosul in 05.
And that was first deployment.
First deployment. But going there, war just kicked off. We were the second wave after the initial invasion. And so we were all gung-ho. Like, we're young. 9/11 just happened. We're just like ready to rock and roll. So we're all amped up. Plus Team America just came out. So we're over there being idiots. Every time we get in a Haji bus, Durka, Muhammad Jihad, rolling down MSR Tampa, blasting America.
Fuck yeah.
So, we were young, dumb, and just wanted to go in and mess stuff up and find, terrorists and take them out,
terrorize them.
And not think about the consequences in that either. You get in a firefight and you just level the street, or, you get a grenade thrown at you, it's in this direction. And instead of assessing the situation and seeing, thinking about why this kid might have thrown the grenade, that first deployment, those thoughts were not there. It was boom, time to pull the trigger, baby. So that was the first deployment, amped up. Right into country, first combat deployment, young. So there was a lot of things there. Second deployment, I'm a staff sergeant this time, and went through lots of training, understanding what's going on. And of course, Petraeus is pushing hearts and minds hardcore. So as a young soldier, you don't really understand the hearts and minds as, an NCO that went through the training and has a lot more development and been there, done that, you're kind of understanding. It's, we got a grenade thrown at us. It was from a 12-year-old kid. Instead of just lighting them up, my thought process was, all right, it's just a little, grenade, barely damaged the slat armor and gave us a flat tire. 12-year-old kid, they probably got his family held captive, says, hey, if you don't throw this grenade, we're going to execute your whole family. So what would you do? Throw a grenade?
It was fucked up. They had the ice cream truck too that was going around.
Yep.
Paying kids to throw grenades at America.
Yeah, exactly, man. And as a kid, you're thinking you're doing what's right for your community, especially over there. And as religious,
especially if you're poor and it's for the money, and you're just getting money for your family to eat. I mean, it is understandable. Unfortunately.
Yep. And you got to understand too, like, they're not raised with the same morals that we are. Because we're raised on a different morale scale. It's correct for us to judge them and so those things, as you grow as a person and NCO, these things start to play more in your head and through the actions of what's going on, instead of just pull the trigger. Hey, let's try, talk to the kid, find out what we can, try help the family out, and find, the insurgent group that's, terrorizing all these families around here. Because that's what it is. It's usually one group that comes in and they move between houses and they terrorize local villages. And of course, they're going to help them because we're only there a few hours of the day, versus those insurgents, as soon as we leave, could capture the family and torture and decapitate them.
How did that affect you? How did that affect you in like needing to protect people from that? Was that something that like weighed heavy on you?
It definitely makes decisions, and Ski and Dan will be able to tell you, not as muscle memory as you practice. Like you go into the shoot house 100 times, right? You see target, boom, silhouette, boom, 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 right? But as you grow and you start understanding this, it actually kind of weighs down on you a little more, versus am I going to go in and just shoot, or am I going to try and, take another route? It's almost like
an ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
Exactly. We see that side of it, but knowing that you have someone else that doesn't even understand,
like it's important. It's important it's necessary and right for leaders to have that mentality. And I think for junior enlisted to not have that mentality, it shapes you. You dumb brain, you bastard.
You're doing a great job.
No, it already went away.
Well, I'll give an example. And so we another grenade, Ski might actually remember this. It was Yeah, we were off Toyota. So yeah, we were in Mosul in '08 with First Cav. We were attached to them. We got to move from Bakiba to Mosul to help them out because, of course, we were all stoked. We were like our old stomping grounds. Heck yeah,
Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, so we were out, and I think it was right by Route Toyota, and I remember the kid. He was wearing red with a blue striped soccer jersey and like blue Adidas pants. Right, I call it out. He throws a grenade, and this is going off almost piggybacking what I said earlier. I call it out. Hey, barely any damage to the vehicle. It was a shitty ass HME grenade. So like. No harm, no foul. I saw him throw it. I pulled up, aimed, saw him let go. And then I was like, all right, it hit our fourth wheel. No problem, And then our CO, because I was part of the TAC at the time, was like, oh, we got, a grenade. And he's hyped up because he doesn't have a CIV. And, that's
contact,
So I'm like, hey, kid between the age of 10 and 15, about, I call out the whole description, the side and everything. Well, then about 3 minutes later, I hear our front vehicle rock the 50 cal, like a good 5-round burst. Thunk, 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 thunk. And so, then I hear target down. First of all, why would you shoot a kid with a fucking 50 cal that's unarmed? Like, anyone that, and this is an NCO that did it, but it's like anyone knows, you always go 2 up in force in combat, so if they're in the vehicle, immobilized with the 50 cal, not the M4. But if they're unarmed, especially, you don't mow them down. Anyway, so we go through this, and it just so happened that there was a MIT team. So for those of you that don't know, a MIT team is basically where they take all your battalion and brigade S shops, majors and lieutenant colonels and E8s that have nothing better to do. And they just send them out on I love you missions, going to check on the IPs and stuff. So it's a whole bunch of like heavy brass that really has nothing better to do than roll around,
They're showing face.
Yeah, that's basically all a MIT team does. So this happened right in front of a IP compound. So I get out and I'm with my senior NCO, and man, nothing in this kid met the description. And I'm looking at him, and he's about 7 years old and has holes in his back the size of my fist. And now I got a daggum big fist, 5x MMA glove.
That's big as shit. That's not that. That's that's crazy. That's a huge ass hand. You're a big dude.
And so, this happens, and we get this MIT team, these IA commanders, these IP commanders, and, my senior NCO right there at the time, he's like, Will, is this guy? I'm like, no, this isn't the fucking kid. I'm like, nothing in the description. The clothes didn't even fucking match. And so it was either, we got all these lieutenant colonels and majors plus IP captains and Iraqi army captains and majors coming up. And so, my NCO was like, well, this has to be the dude, otherwise shit's going to roll downhill, which meant like jail time but it's like, so of course on the 15-6, you write what's required, but at the same time that eats at you every day. That's my daughter's about to be 7. Like, I would raise hell. Like, if Russia was over here, may God help them, because I sure would pick them apart piece by piece, man.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Yes.
Yeah, dude. So Greg, so we brought in David here. You were talking about him a little bit ago. If you wanted to give him a quick introduction, and let's talk about, one of the reasons why you wanted to bring him in. I would love to know. I'd love to hear the story and the thought processes.
All right. So Dave is my brother. He's my younger brother by a few years. As I mentioned earlier, we kind of grew up apart, and we didn't meet each other till after the military. Dave had a very successful military career. He was attached to the 82nd Airborne for a while. He has 2 Purple Hearts and, like I said, a Bronze Star with Valor. And, Dave and I, we were talking yesterday, and I was like, dude, you should come in. I'm going to be part of this, for my life thing. And a lot of the stuff we were talking about, is just stuff that veterans, even though we're out and we battle with every day, and people look at us like you have everything, but they think that because we're doing well or we're doing better, that we still don't have those daily struggles or struggles in general, you know. And that's one of the reasons I was like excited to come in, because I was like, today's going to be a real life throwdown, and almost every vet or every first responder or police officer that comes in is going to be like, yes, I agree 10,000%, because 99% of the time we look like we're doing great, but it's literally just a smile and wave. Like, is today the day that, you know, I'm just going to say fuck it and put the gun in my mouth? Like,
Right.
you know,
I hope
and
not.
no,
Right.
no. But yeah, Dave, go and say hi, man, and introduce yourself, brother.
I am Dave.
So, man,
Greg's younger brother. How you doing? I've
How you
never
doing,
done
bro?
anything. I've never done anything like this before. I'm kind of an
no
introvert.
worries. So am I.
Yeah, I keep all my feelings inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is new.
That's okay, man.
News not necessarily bad.
I'm not even on camera nervous because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to express myself. Like,
Well,
I agree with Greg. Everybody thinks that we're all right, but I'm not. I have my fake smile on every day. Like Greg said, is today the day?
So take us down that journey right now, man. I'm gonna put your little D right there in the front. Oh shit, I didn't mean it like that. You got
Look,
D
just
as
comes in and
David.
you're already
Damn, bro. I'm already attacking him. Shit, my bad, dude.
It's big. It's big. We know it is.
It's a big D now.
So
You're just gonna be up here. We have the letter there. You're not on camera or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
you're
go
good.
ahead, man. Take us through any of the thoughts that you might have had when you were in, and why you joined, maybe some of the thoughts you have that maybe some other of your brothers and your sisters, they might be having the same exact thoughts, and you bringing it up right now and talking about it could actually be a spark for them to feel like, oh shit, somebody else feels the exact same way that I do. So take us through your story, take us through how you got in, and some shit that went down. What actually bothers you? It doesn't even have to be related to the military. Sometimes it's not actually. So
my dad was a Marine, and he raised me like a Marine. So my whole life, I felt like I was destined to be in the military, because my grandfather was in Vietnam and my great grandfather was in World War II, I think. It just felt like heritage, and I didn't know what I was doing after high school. As in, I was so pumped, full of anger from growing up. My mom abandoned me and two brothers I didn't know. And then I had a stepmom that was cruel to me, told me I was an intrusion. And that's why my last name was Frederick and that they were D. And it reminds me of Joe Dirt that she used to say. And that's why mom and dad named you Joe Dirt, not Noonamaker. The military, it was just something in there. I needed that structure. I was the type of person, I was a hands-on learner. My dad was a very strict, and this is how it's done. Everything's got its place. So I just fit into the military. But I joined the infantry and joined air assault, and I jumped on my first tour in Iraq, and it went all right. But when I came home, nothing really happened, but I couldn't adjust. I accumulated 3 felonies for aggravated battery and bar fights right off the get-go of being home. I was like, yep, this is it. I just ruined my life because I don't know how to shut it off. I was the door kicker on a 4-man squad that we would go in, and the Zari province and I think it was west of Kandahar out there, and Panjway. But it was my tour in Afghanistan was intense. And
What years were you there?
I was in Afghanistan 08, 09. But I don't really remember much. 2 RPGs struck my gun turret. I woke up in Landstuhl, Germany. I didn't know who I was, where I was, and what I was doing. And then I spent 22 months in the Wounded Warrior Project. because I had to learn to do things again. I'm pretty good. I haven't had a seizure in about a year, but I've had over 60 seizures in the last 10 years, and I feel like I've lost a piece of me, of like, who am I? And then I don't know if that's from the traumatic brain injury, or I cry all the time. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with you, Bub. You're speaking my language right now. You went through.
I lost Dave, and but I'm learning who Dave is now. Like,
Right.
trying to be a better.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
I'm on this belief of life is about love and energy and gratitude, and you get what you give, and the universe will repay you with what you know. And that's hard for me because things I've done in my past too, like Greg, I've been sexually assaulted by a family member, and I've done bad things. I want to earn my place in that afterlife of this life ain't it. And I battle with suicide every day of like, I want to give up and start over, but then it's like, it don't work like that.
But you got the strength that you're still here, bro. And this is what Dave and I was having a really heart-to-heart yesterday. And for those of you that are listening, man, just because someone was on that edge to commit suicide or did make an attempt to commit suicide, that never goes away. It's almost like in marriage where the word divorce, you could just mention it in a fight and it goes away, but that seed is planted and it's ever growing and ever sprouting, and every hard thing in your marriage and every hard thing in your life, the suicide seed, the divorce seed, waters that plant until it comes to fruition. So just because someone went through a hard time and you think they're through it, they're never through it. It's going to be a lifelong struggle, and sometimes it's a daily struggle. I think about it at multiple times a day, how much easier life would be for my wife or my kids, or, if it's just better if I'm gone, multiple times a day, and it doesn't mean that I'm going through it, but there are those days that I'm down, and, I got to give, and I'm going to put James and Dan and Wade on blast here, Project Refit, and especially Blue Skies, the app Blue Skies, and the fire teams that we have in there, because there have been times that I've been low and I say something and I got 20 messages from battle buddies. Hey, you okay? What can we do to help? Hey, man, you didn't pick up your phone. Because, sometimes you get in those moods and you're just absolved into your bed or chair, and you don't even have the energy to pick up the phone to look and see who texted you. But when you do finally get that energy up, whether you're deciding to end it or not, but you look at it and you see all these people concerned, that makes a difference. And
it does.
It does, knowing that you have that cornerstone of support. But Dave and I were just talking yesterday. Hey, no matter where you are in life, you are not the only one going through this. There's individuals like Dave and myself, constant battle every day. But just like putting your shoes on or boots on one at a time, or if you're weird and do them two at a time, that's talent. But you just got to decide and find that point. What's for my life? What is my life about right now?
Hell yeah. And I wanted to say to Dave actually about that. You mentioned something that I believe in. So I've been doing it more again for myself because I notice it's very powerful, as being grateful. You mentioned that briefly, and I want to say that, one of the things that we did over here at Project Refit last year during the pandemic was I created this thing called the Grateful Challenge, right? Where I didn't want it to be like the fucking ice bucket shit or like I don't want bullshit. Like, give me something that people are going to do that's actually going to challenge them and change their lives, right? Like the 75 hard challenge is actually fucking cool. I love seeing people do that because they're actually improving their lives, but before I saw that, I came out with the Grateful Challenge, where 21 days straight, You have to say something you're grateful for once a day. You have to be grateful for something, anything. Literally, it could be, man, I'm grateful that I have this Yeti that was given to me. Or like, man, I'm grateful that I have this t-shirt on me. You know, little things. Or man, I'm really grateful that hummus exists because I love hummus and crackers. I don't give a fuck what it is. Be grateful for something. Right. And I really appreciate that you brought that up. And actually, the way you said it made me think I heard something else behind it, where you were saying that that's what's been keeping you alive almost, and like for your life. And I have one question off of that. Are you in a survival mode still, or are you trying to learn how to get out of survival?
That's a tough question.
Of course.
By
the way, take your time answering it.
I don't know if I'm in survival mode, but I'm more of like a searching mode.
That's cool, man.
A searching for like who I was before I got hurt. I really do not like who I was. And
okay.
I am on the search of finding that inner God in me, you know, of who am I? Who am I truly? Like, and I battle with, like, right now I'm struggling with forgiveness and forgiving myself on bad deeds, or, you know, people give me all this love and I feel like I do not deserve their love, because if they truly knew who I was, but then it's like,
who you think you are,
who you think exactly,
not who, not
you
not
become
not,
what
not
you
who they know you are, who who you think you are.
Yeah, and it's like,
because you can't see who you are from their perspective.
If I return that love that they give me without shutting everybody out, I have, in these like last couple months, I have really opened my heart up.
Good. That's
like,
powerful.
It is.
Hey, Dave, I don't mean, I have to say, I don't want to get off this topic. When you said you feel like you're searching, I really want to read something to you. I wrote this. All right, listen, I'm going to plug that I wrote this. You know, when people say the quote of like, do something to be proud of yourself for, you know, 6 years later, 10 years later, whatever the fuck, you ever hear that before?
Yeah.
All right. So I did that. I found something that I wrote a long time ago, and I'm so grateful for it because of everything that I'm doing now with Project Refit. By the way, I wrote this before Project Refit. It just kind of shows the seeds were being planted. Not trying to call back what Greg was talking about with seeds, but to call that back, I mean, this is a positive one. So I want to read this one paragraph to you. All right. It's the logic of nothing. Okay. So you're in a place of where you feel like you're at like a nothing point, right? So, wrestling taught me, so this is about like wrestling, but it's going to go somewhere. Ready? So wrestling taught me nothing matters. Nothing is something. And when I felt like I was nothing, I realized that I'm still something. Nothing is a place where you can begin anything. Once you've reached the point of feeling as if you're nothing, you can be reborn into anything. You're limited to whatever it is you limit yourself to. Anything is possible. Therefore, it is possible nothing is something. Why would you want to believe anything else? It's the most powerful. So now I'm done reading. It's the most powerful place you can be in, Dave. And I need you to believe that. So the thing is, for yourself, you're at a place where you're searching. I'm happy that you're not in a survival mode. That's awesome. That means that, you know, you aren't like, you know, necessarily considering suicide. I mean, are you considering suicide? Like, is that something you've been planning at all?
I think about it on a daily.
Yeah, it's a daily struggle.
You think about it, but
last night I was, you know, with Greg wanting me to get on here, man, as in, I don't know. I don't like scratching into that scab that I've got so calloused.
Yeah.
But he did it. He came and he said he was going to be my backbone. But I let stuff out.
Man, I pick at it and make it bleed all the time. That scab, and I hate it. I feel like man, I really liked what you just read too. That was awesome. You're welcome.
Dave, I made a. I I think about it daily also. I made a pact with myself a while ago, a little contract, if you will, with my demons. I hate to cliche to me, but it works. So I made a contract. As long as one person loves me, as long as one person loves me, I can't do it. I recognize that it will immediately take away the pain. It's just not the right option. It's not the right one. And I, just me personally, this is me. I don't believe in putting my pain on someone else. That's me. So I made that contract that I won't do it as long as there is one person. It's helped a lot. Obviously, like I said, every day you think about it. But just gonna go look back to that writing real quick, little contract, and it puts me back in reality, I guess.
Yeah, man. That's what I was saying. Like, it's okay. It sounds crazy
Love
to
you too,
say,
mate.
but it's okay to think about it. It's okay, right? Like we all think about things. Like I think about suicide too, right? But how are you thinking about it? Is it like are you planning? Are you planning on doing something? Or are you not? You're not?
I'm not planning. It's just these like those
Random thoughts.
with
That's
the military,
normal, bro.
I was a gunner in the when I was a gunner in the trucks, and I was Mark 19 gunner, and when it comes, I would let that thing fly. And now it's 10 years later, and I'm having dreams of blown up children that I don't even know if I blew up. Like, who did I hurt with that fucking devastator? As in, like, I know I've hurt a lot of people because of going through, like, attacking a village with my Mark 19, and the next day we go in there to investigate why we were getting small arms fire. And then I see all this damage I did. I'm like, who did I hurt that didn't need hurt? And it's like, man, I'm a piece of shit. I'm unworthy of life. I'm this and I'm that and I'm fucking man. And then I don't.
You go down the rabbit hole.
I tell myself, man, why? Obviously, I'm a good person and I have a good heart because I'm feeling these things, yes, Dave. And taking my life would be so cowardly.
It would be a disservice to what you've been through,
to me and what I'm trying to represent. It's just, but it's like those thoughts. I like, why am I thinking about this? Why am I thinking about hurting myself? And it's like, do I need to go to a psych ward? No, I don't. Well, it's just a daily battle of like, am I a good person? I feel my wife was just telling me last night. She's like, you're a good person, Dave, because I see a twinkle in your eye, and when you talk to me about these things, you have emotion with them, regret, and like, I don't know.
You got to think of how many people have the dead eyes where they can't bring those emotions up, or they've lost them completely. Because you are a good person.
I used to have that. Didn't care about hurting people, and now it's like, man, who was I? Who am I becoming? And it's like, I hope I could be when it comes down to it, God or the universe or whoever it is sees that I recognized my flaws and changed my ways.
You know, you also need to. You're very hard on yourself.
Oh, hard.
And what's that?
I am. I'm not. I am hard.
Yeah, man. You're very hard on yourself.
I turned to drugs for my way out too. Methamphetamine. There, I've been sober 2 years after 8 years of doing coke and meth, and it's like, man, I hate seeing the pictures and videos of me from then that my wife has, because I could see it in my energy through a video that's who is that guy, and like. The longer I've been sober, all these fucking emotions that I've never had that I've covered up because I was trying to bury all of these problems from childhood to the war to, like, man, how long I was on drugs, I feel so stupid. Like the sabotage that I did to my family, emotionally shutting them out and not talking to anybody. And I hate going to the fucking VA. Sorry. Like,
okay.
to talk to
No, you're
somebody.
good.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can curse as much as you don't got to apologize. for
Yeah,
nothing,
this
dude.
this is
This
just
is-
like being back in the platoon, Dave.
This
Let
is
it out,
all
brother.
you.
They
Fuck
they
them
just want to throw these pills at me that shut me down, that block out all the things that I'm supposed to be and overcoming, as in it just bubble wrapping me, and that bubble wrap eventually pops.
Yeah,
Or you're
man.
suffocated by it, dude. I got out of the military on 9 pills,
No.
and I got off of them, and I started going to the vet centers instead of the VA. I go to the VA. We don't bash the VA. Like, there's bad VAs, there's good ones. I go to the Philadelphia VA. I have not had one bad experience. I have a psychiatrist there, and then I get my therapy at the vet center. Have you heard of the vet centers?
I have never been. I'm telling you, I'm super to myself with my problems.
All right, dude,
I've
let me
never
learn
done
you.
any. I've been to groups and stuff, but like from checking myself in a psych ward.
Right.
You know, my dad used to take me and drop me off, and he said, "Tell him to call me when you're better."
Yeah, no, it's not that. Trust me. So the vet center was made by Vietnam vets. When they came home, they had dog shit, nothing. So they made it for themselves. Eventually, the VA recognized it and started funding it. So the best part is the VA cannot access the vet center's records, anything, but the vet center can access the VA's. So you and the therapist at the vet centers, most of the time, are veterans, combat veterans themselves. I've had the best group therapy at vet centers. It's this, dude. It's this, but structured, and there's points and topics that the vet center is the best therapy I've had, hands down. There's no question about it. I was very weird with therapy too. I didn't want to open up, but then once I started to open up, it was, dude, the floodgates were fucking open, and it's gotten me to the point where I can talk about shit freely. Now I may have a dream here and there, but I'm not having the breakdowns anymore where I was before. You know what I mean? But the vet, vet center, dude. Vet center is definitely the best therapy option I've had.
And then I'm not a proud military or a veteran. Like, I do not like people I don't talk about being in the military. And my wife always puts me on blast, calls me a hero. I don't feel like a hero, and I question things that I did that I don't like thinking about it.
Can I ask you a question about
and then
that?
when
Man?
I'm around other military members, man, that I do not like telling the story. As in, like, man, I question things that were done, and that, you know.
That's perfectly fine. Now I'm going to speak on the hero thing, because I don't like recognition. I fucking hate it. It disgusts me. It makes me feel cringy. It makes me want to fucking vomit. But you got to think of who's saying it to you.
My wife.
So what that means to her. That's how I do it now. It's not how I take it, because it's in that conversation. It's almost irrelevant. They're getting their emotion, their feelings out to you. Now, if it's somebody, a random person, I'll have there's people who did more than me, whatever. But if it's a loved one, you were a hero. If they're saying a compliment or something, I always at least try and receive it. Because they mean it from a good place. They do. But I know exactly what you mean.
So do I, especially with, the award I got. Like, I always make the joke that, because originally I was put in for the Silver Star, then upgraded to Distinguished Service Cross, and then in review for the Medal of Honor, and then downgraded back. But it's like, I always make the joke, the only reason I got the award was because I saved an officer. Everything else was just training, There was no difference from us getting blown up than a few arty sim rounds thrown on our vehicle, blown up, and getting shot at as soon as the ramp drops. Actually, I think our training was more difficult than the actual firefight, to be honest.
Which is good.
Yeah, I think, but we get in that, I just did the job. I just beat everybody else inside the vehicle that was on fire, got the LT out, and got on the 50 cal. And, I always tell people, my buddy Dave, if he would have been half second sooner, that would have been him in there, Any one of us in the platoon would have done it. And when a stranger comes up, we always get, hey, thank you for your service. And, I always respond with, hey, thank you for being someone worth serving, because the fact that they recognize, that we did join, and we did go through some stuff, and they thank me instead of, and this took me a while too, because I was like, why are they thanking me? I just did what I wanted to do. I'm nobody's hero. I wanted to go over there. I wasn't forced into it. When I joined, I didn't have this patriotic notion. Like the war kicked off and I was young, dumb, full of cum. It was.
I was waiting
it was
for you
my
to say
own.
that earlier. You left the cum part out. I was like,
I know. It was my own selfish needs why I originally joined. Like I'd love to say that, back at the time I was Ricky Bobby and I woke up and I pissed red, white, and blue, and the doctor told me it was pancreatic cancer, and I told him to shut his commie mouth. But that wasn't the case. The war kicked off and I wanted to go do shit like a young man. And as I grew, I found ways to help, but and same with when someone, a stranger comes up and says, hey, thank you for your service. The fact that they realize that I'm a veteran or I was a soldier. Well, once a soldier, always a soldier, just like a Marine. That's what I love about the Marines. You never hear I was a Marine. I am a Marine. Yeah. Even when Marines greet each other, hey, Marine, how's it going? Never is it a past tense. It's always present. So once a soldier, always a soldier, once a Marine. Just like when I see, that 80-year-old guy in Sam's Club the other day, I saw him there with his Navy hat on. I'm like, how you doing, sailor? He goes, I haven't been called sailor in over 40 years. And he goes, thank you for that. And I'm like, well, once a sailor, always a sailor, young man. But yeah, it is a difficult thing, because we don't look at it as a hero, and we just, whether it was our selfish needs for joining the military or whatever we joined, we did a job, and it's also hard. One thing I have with that is I think about the police force, the firefighters, especially EMTs. I'm all about, all our emergency services, but EMTs especially have the hardest job. I mean, if you want to talk about heroes, that's those guys, because almost every situation they go into is life or death, or they don't know this. Maybe they get called up to go to a tweaker house and everybody in there is gacked out and there's, meth and coke and guns everywhere, and they're in there because someone's heart stopped. They have to ignore everything else, go into this shithole house, take care of this person, and not know how everybody else is going to react. And they don't have time to wait for a police escort. Like, they're there to get it done,
Yeah.
But I do want to say, Dave, I love you, man. And, I wanted you in here to kind of be my cornerstone. And I'm glad that you decided to talk. I told Dave, hey, I just want you there. And if you feel you need to, want to say some stuff or have some stuff to put out, you can. And, I know you don't like, the groups or the VA stuff, but Dave, Project Refit is awesome. We do buddy checks just like this a few times a week. I'll invite you to the next one we got on Friday, man. And it's just like being back in the platoon bullshitting.
It's not that I don't like any of it. It's I hate bringing up that emotion that I've been trying to bury too. And it's like talking to somebody. Hey. They just want to give me a pill. I don't want the pill. I want to release this.
Dave. So, but I think we all on here understand that we have to talk about that stuff. Now, I get you not wanting to do it with the clinicians right away because of the pills and whatnot. Excuse me. Fuck yeah, I agree with that. Especially if they're not needed. But what Greg was, we have Zooms Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can come in any of them. If you don't want to be in there with the big groups, we can have a separate group just for you. That's not an issue at all. Now, I know you don't like the recognition and shit. I'm gonna keep it super fucking small. Yeah. I'm really proud of you for coming on here and talking, dude, and opening up and being as honest as you were.
I'm proud of him too.
I'm very
proud of him.
Last night, and the path I'm taking, I was like, maybe this is manifestation for more help.
Hey, Dave, I was actually you and I. So I'm happy that you. I'm gonna first say, I agree with Dan. Very proud of you. I also want to say that I feel like you and I understand each other a little bit better than maybe I first recognized, because you also immediately understood my writing. Like, you literally immediately understood what I was saying in that writing. Okay,
I believe in that. All of it, the spiritual aspect of we are more than we are, and we change our brain chemistry with our thoughts.
That's right. 100%. That is correct. And let me just say, though, one of the ways to do that I'm going to challenge one of your assumptions, and I'm going to challenge it directly. You mentioned that you don't like to open up about like what you're going through. I'm going to give you a story before I say what I want to say. I'm going to give you a quick story. So yesterday, literally just yesterday, I was with a woman who she was cutting my fucking hair because we have a golf outing tomorrow. I got to look semi-presentable. So, I got my hair cut, and this woman was just talking to me. She found out what we do at Project Refit, and she started talking to me about the pain that she feels from when she was like a kid. And I said to her, I was like, there's a lot of studies that talk about like how you have to like forgive your younger self and like, cradle your kid, cradle you if you were young, and like, what would you say to your younger self and blah, 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 and all that stuff. At first, when I first heard that shit, I was kind of like, that's interesting. I don't know if that would really work. But then I started to look deeper into it, and it actually works. It's very profound. So like, even when you're thinking about yourself, and here's a shit that sucks. It's going to be painful. Right. So so she said to me, actually, this is getting to the point. She said, well, that sounds like it's going to hurt, because anytime I think about like, me and my younger self, it actually hurts. And I was like, well, it's supposed to be painful, because it's supposed to be hard. When you're healing anything, it's not easy. When you're healing a broken fucking bone, it's not easy. When you're healing you're getting shot, it's not easy. Your brain is so damn smart. Your brain is so fucking smart. It's so smart that it is think of the hardest bone ever on the planet. Like, think of the hardest material. If that fucking thing breaks, that hard material, do you think it's going to be just so easy to put it back together? Of course not. When something is super hard or super smart, it's going to bring shit up that's going to be painful. It's going to manifest in physical pain. But the thing is that you can eventually work through it. And one of the best ways to do that is actually talk therapy. You don't have to take pills or anything like that. If you don't want to take pills, you can voice that and put up that boundary. But talk therapy is super powerful. It's also, as you're saying, as you actually said yourself, fucking painful. In fact, there's Navy SEALs. We had John McCaskill who talked about that. He basically alluded to the fact of how difficult that shit is, even for him. A goddamn Navy SEAL, bro. The training those fuckers go through. If he's saying it's super hard and he had to work through it, bro, yes, it's going to be fucking hard. And yes, you're capable. Anybody's capable of getting through it. And I really want to reinforce that. And I want to challenge your assumption that you don't want to do it and that you can't do it, because you can. And honestly, here's something I'm going to promise you. Project Refit is going to be with you, if you allow us to be, every fucking step of the way through your therapy journey. If you decide to go down that route, even if you don't decide to do that, we're still going to fucking be here. I don't give a shit whether I do care. I do want you to go, but I don't care if you go or not. You're still going to be with us, is what I mean by that. But I really do want to urge you to think about it. It's going to be super fucking hard, dude. It's going to suck so bad. But it can help, it can. So, it isn't really for everybody. I agree with that. I don't think it is for everybody, but I think most people it is. But you shouldn't have that thought in your head when you're going into it. Like, so I went to a therapist for a while. I'm going to try to find another one. I went to a therapist for a couple of things I had to go to a therapist for. And I want to do it where I have this guy as like a monthly. I want to have the person as like a monthly, just do a check-in, like just to kind of make sure that the wheels are turning properly in my head, right? Like, it might just be like a going for an hour, and he's like, yeah, you're fucking good, man. Like, you seem okay. You're thinking pretty clearly and blah, blah, blah. And it's like just having checkups. There's fucking absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I urge you to treat your beginning stages as if you have a broken bone, and then later stages as just a checkup, right? So I think that could be a really good path for you, and a really good journey for you right there. So Greg said he has a quote that he wants to share. So I'm going to pass the speaking over to Greg. Go ahead, bud.
So, this actually comes from Oprah. Now, growing up, I was an Oprah fan, and due to other things, as of late, I'm not so much of an Oprah fan. But
Winfrey?
yeah, but believe it or not, she does provide some outstanding life wisdom. Whether you like her, whether you're
She's had a fucked up life.
whatever, some of the stuff she says does hit home. Now, remember how I was saying, and Dave, this is going to resonate with you too, brother, like so hardcore, man. And again, thank you for being here and being my rock today, Dave, because I am gonna
I'm not much of a
share
rock,
some
Greg.
stuff. And I told Dave I was gonna let some stuff out today, and he was like, "Dude, that's so brave. I'm so proud for it." I'm like, "But I can only do it if you're gonna be in my corner." And he's like, "I got you." He's got my six. But so this is going off earlier how I was saying, and this is why I said, James, this is gonna hit it on the head, just what you were talking about, and with Dave. How I get asked the question when I share with kids, I was beat, raped, and I could come out and just say it. I used to be ashamed of it, but I own that shit now. I own those demons. They don't own me. But I was prostituted. I was raped. I had dudes do shit to me. Fuck that. You know what? I'm stronger for that shit, and fuck all them, right? But Oprah said, turn your wounds into wisdom. Now, like I said, I am not an Oprah person, but that is like hitting it on the point. Those deep wounds that we take from childhood, from military, from everything, we could just sit there and turn into a rusty fucking bucket, or we could use the donkey at the bottom of the well while the farmer's trying to bury the donkey in the well so he just fucking dies, and we could just sit there and be covered in the fucking dirt, or we could use the wisdom and fucking just walk in circles while he's throwing that dirt in there until we get up high enough and we could walk the fuck out of the well.
I love that. Literally love that. Because
Sorry, you cut out there at the end, Greg.
he basically was saying, he's saying instead of like staying down in the well of pain, you can learn how to get out of it. Since you know how to get in, you can learn how to get out.
Yeah.
And that's
See,
using
with that,
the
I've
pain.
been thinking about that a lot. I've been thinking about that
A lot. Go ahead, man.
Did it?
Tell us what you've been thinking.
I've been thinking about what Greg just like that, and I question too, like here lately, of like what Greg was saying with the things that happened to us as a child. Like nothing in the universe doesn't happen for a reason. So why'd that happen to me? And if that didn't happen to me, how would I be today? Like those it traumatically changed your life. As now I'm an adult, and I'm like, man, who would I?
Yeah, Dave. You're an adult, right? You got a wife.
It's for a reason. It was like, man, why? Why? I don't like. What was the point?
I'm gonna help you with this, Dave, and because you and I, not only are we brothers and we love each other, but we grew up so similar, and I struggled with this for so long, and now, well, one thing you got to look at is you have a wife, you have a daughter, and you have 2 boys, right? You went through that suffering so you could protect them so they don't have to go through that. You took that on, and now you know what to look out for and how to protect them. And if, heaven forbid, they ever do have to go through anything of that, guess what? You have the wisdom and experience to help them or your friends or anybody else that goes through that. You now have that knowledge and capability, to spread that out, and it builds you up as a person, man. Look how strong you are. Like, I look up to you. You were like hardcore addicted to drugs, and look at you, man. You're clean. You got, you do your meditation, your painting. If you guys haven't seen, you have to check out Dave's paintings, man. He is.
Where do I look at them?
An amazing artist. Yeah, Dave, make sure you send Dan on Messenger here.
Okay.
Some of that, like Dave takes his PTSD. He's got a shop, and he's doing so amazing. And you really are, Dave. And I know what it goes back to that. Someone saying, "Hey, thank you for your service and you're a hero." But I'm not pissing on your leg and telling you it's raining, bro. Look at where you were 2.5 years ago to where you are now. You've come, you've cleaned yourself up, and yeah, you still have struggles. And for the rest of your life, You will have struggles just like I will. Just like we were every day is going to be a fucking battle. But look how far you've come in the battlefield. You went from in the trenches covered in blood and guts to now, you're climbing up the hill ready to plant the fucking flag, dude. Yeah, it's fucking hard. It is, man. You got that, M60 shooting down on you, but you're still fucking charging. You refuse to give up. That's why you haven't committed suicide. That's why you haven't pulled the fucking trigger, because deep down inside of you, you have that esprit de corps, and you're like, fuck this, I'm driving on.
You got the spirit, baby.
I keep that mindset too. And that's what got me. I sobered up too. As in, I met my wife and the kids, and I was like, man, I cannot do this anymore. And I'm tired of the way it's making me feel. I'm at the bottom of a hole, tinking on concrete, bringing up dust. I get a little deeper. And it's like, I wonder where my life will be if I just put that shit down. And it's changed so dramatically. Of like, that's man, look, that's something I tell myself on a daily too. I look around at everything I have and like my family and the love I get from them, and that I haven't been returning. I've been sabotaging my marriage for about a year on an emotional level of pushing
not
her
feeling
away.
You deserve it.
Yeah. And like, I'm just now recognizing that I need to return that love. And because we started out in my darkest of darks, and I want to get to the point to where I can walk into any conversation, any room, and be humble. And because I'm happy with who I am in my life.
This is the start of it, bub. We're gonna get you there. It is. It's like Greg said, it's a fucking bitch, dude. But like you're already on the other side.
Yeah,
like
dude.
you are. Like Greg said, you were at the bottom. You were at bare bottom, hitting cement, and now you have the mental capacity to say, all right, I fucked up here. I wasn't this when I needed to be, but now I'm ready to be. Now I want to be. And I think that really is the lesson to be learned in all of it. As long as you come to this point, the point you're at, that's really what matters.
Yo, you know what I've said to people before, Dave, is you have to, I said it to someone before and they were like, oh, I don't get it. So I'm going to say it to you, and I'm going to say it, and I know how to explain it better because I didn't explain it well the first time I said it. This is like a few months ago that I said this, but I'm going to say it to you, and I think you'll understand it. But if you don't, please let me know. But you need to forgive yourself. Do you know what I mean by that?
It's so hard.
It's so hard. You're right. Just the fact that you said it's so hard, fucking, you get it. Like you have to go back to who you, like, you're in your mind. You have to sit down with yourself. And if you do this, you should do this alone at first. I think you should do it by yourself. You should sit down with yourself and you should be like, you know what? I'm going to think about some things that just one thing. I'm not asking you to fucking open up Pandora's box, bro. I don't need that shit. You don't need that shit. Nobody needs that shit right now. You need to do it bit by bit by bit. Think about one thing. The time that I'll give you an example. The time that I was like fucking 3 or 4 years old and I stole a Snickers candy when I was in fucking ShopRite in Berlin, New Jersey. I remember doing that shit. And I remember showing my mom and she's like, where'd you get that? And I was like, I took it from, back there. And she was like, you don't steal, right? And it's like, fuck, yeah, okay. And I felt really guilty about that. So I think back on it. I forgive myself. I was a kid. I was learning. I was growing, right? And it's easy to think about something like that, I know, but it's just an example. To forgive myself for that, though. So you have to think about little things, and then you can get harder and harder and harder as you go. Or you can do more difficult, memories and forgive yourself for those. You need to do that. And
see, I have these organite copper pyramids that I sit under on a daily because I believe in the energy it gives. And man, when I'm in that pyramid meditating, all these flaws that are telling me that it's only temporary what I'm feeling, that I'm on this path of I have to work through this bad energy to get to the good energy within myself, like layers. Like you can't just jump into bliss is what my gut and meditation tells me.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. We lose him?
Yeah, he dropped out.
Oh man,
Damn
that's
It was getting good.
we'll get him
Yo,
back
he'll
in
get
here.
back
Yeah,
in. We'll
yeah,
get him
yeah.
back in here. I am not, yo, Dan. I'm not ending this.
It's already
Yeah.
20 minutes over anyway. What's the point?
I'm just saying, I'm not ending this. My boy needs to get the fuck back in here and talk because I can hear in his voice. He's starting to change.
Yeah. And
I can hear it in his voice.
he needed this, and that's why I knew that like if he came in
He's a
as part of
great
my
guy.
corner, he'd open up, and I just knew like he was like me, like Wade back when Project Refit first started hit me up for it, and I'm like, nah, I'm not into groups and stuff, right? But I will tell you what, Project Refit is so different than a circle jerk at the VA.
I was just gonna say it's not like other. I don't like when people call it group because groups have a negative stigma to them.
Yeah, Project Refit is like the way I explain it to everybody is being back in the CP talking shit, and then when someone has an issue, we take it serious, and then we make fun of them, and if it's within that reality, like
Dude,
like
honestly, it's like the truck guard, where like when you're in the motor pool and there's two dudes on guard. Like this is the kind of conversations I'd have with the other dudes on fucking gate guard and shit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is.
Let's get back to Dave real quick. Dave, I want you to continue. You're sitting underneath, you're meditating, you're sitting underneath your copper pyramid, you're meditating, you had a very real gut feeling and that also by the gut feeling is correct that you need to get through those negative feelings to make it and earn those good feelings. Fucking love it. Keep going from that point.
Yeah, that's sorry, I lose my train of thought.
That's okay. TBI.
But yeah, it's just like in today, like it's blowing my heart away. As in, I've been reading this book called The Celestine Prophecy about how the next evolution and man.
Take your time. Don't beat yourself up.
The computer's cut out.
But it's okay.
Here these last couple months, like the manifestation that's in this book I've been reading, I feel like I'm like, what's going on right now? Like this was meant to happen. Like this is really like I feel like this is what part of me healing. Like
because
Greg called me yesterday. And I don't talk to Greg as much as I should because I'm dealing with my shit. But man, Greg talks to me yesterday that like just made me feel like I'm doing this. I'm attracting these people in my life because I'm searching for it.
You're right. You're right. 100% you're right. Because when you begin to search, so I'm going to, can I share another way that I know you're correct? It's from a personal experience. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I know that you're correct because if you look at, so I'm going to start out my next statement with an example from someone, and then I'm going to give you an example of how I saw it myself. And then I'm going to reaffirm exactly how you're right, right? You talking to Dan and I right now and Project Refit proves your theory correct, that you are attracting this positive energy. You are attracted because you're looking for it. And the reason why I know that that is real is because if you look at people who are successful, I mean, like you can look at the uber success people, right? And then you can look at the people who are searching out their journeys for where they want to be in the world and who they want to be. They begin to attract exactly what it is they need to be in the world, right? When they begin to put themselves out there and searching for it and talking about it and talking to people, because that's the way you grow is actually with other people. When you hold things back and when you're not talking about it, you're not going to do shit, right? You're not going to attract the right people. Now, the personal example that I have is I'll just set Project Refit, right? Dan and I were kind of like holding back a little bit with it. We're doing it. We're growing it a little bit here and there, getting the word out there. And then one day I just decided, you know what? I'm going to take a look at the data of some of the messages that we put out. We're going to look at some of the fucking data. So I looked it up and I was like, holy shit. We are reaching like 32 million fucking people in 2019. 32 million people, right, are beginning to resonate with us, right? So that's when I literally said August 2019. It was after, I think it was after our first golf outing, Dan. I literally was like, fuck it. I literally, dude, I said, fuck it. I'm doing it. And I literally we just went for it, dude. And we just started pushing as hard as fuck. And then we started to attract a lot of people that needed to talk. We started programs that were actually changing people's lives, right? And it only happened because we actually started to put our message into the world. You, David, you are doing that. You are putting your message into the world. You're saying, hey, world, hey, universe, I want to heal. I want to be better. I'm going to be better. I made it through drug use. I made it through rape. I made it through war. That's what you're doing it. You've been doing it your whole life, bro. That's why you're still alive. That's why you didn't kill yourself, because there's no point. You have so much more to live for.
And then Greg keeps saying that I came in here to be his rock, but Greg as he is the rock. You know,
we are each other's rocks, brother.
And to hear that my brother's dealing with like same of this, it's like, man, we have a lot more in common that I realized that we need each other. Like, I thought, I had this image of Greg as in nothing could hurt him. That he's got his shit together, and then he opens up to me yesterday, and it's like, bro, you twerking my heart, bro.
I was talking to James and Dan yesterday. I'm like, dude, tomorrow's going to be an epic thing for FML because, Dave, you look at me like that, and so do a lot of my soldiers and other people that come in here, like, but they need to know. And when I share some more later, just because we're on here and it seems like we do the smile and wave, man, we have the same daily struggles. Like don't put me on some pedestal. I'm right there with you guys in the trenches, struggling between alcoholism, marriage, anger, drugs. Like all this is, suicide. It's a daily struggle for all of us. And having that comfort and knowing that, just because we're on here and we're trying to help you guys out, but we have those struggles too, can mean so much more to someone that's just, man, he really does know where we are at because he's struggling with it every day as well. And that really opened Dave's eyes yesterday too. And I love you, brother. And, he was like, man, I didn't know that you're struggling with this too.
It opened my eyes too of listening to you talk yesterday and today of like, you were right with what we've been. I could help people. It's not all about me. Like by helping people too, just listening to somebody and not putting in my opinion might save somebody's life. Like I want to be that guy because I do have that life experience of the darkest of darks.
Exactly, Dave. You have so much experience.
Right, bro.
Confidence is so hard too. And like myself, like self-esteem and
you've overcome so many obstacles. Oh, sorry, Dan.
No, you're good. None of that, like the self-esteem shit when it comes to help doesn't fucking matter. You simply speaking about what you've been through is enough. You get into that zone where you're telling your story and you're just talking and you're not reciting, you're not doing that shit. Them people listening, they don't give a fuck whether you're confident or not. They're not looking at that at all. They're listening to what you're saying. And what you said also about you listening and not saying anything, that's the key to it all. Just so you know.
It's so hard.
It's listening and not opening your fucking mouth, is letting them talk and get out what they feel they need to get out. And then if you have some nice fucking things to say, throw it in there maybe. But generally listen.
And you guys are awesome. As in, like, normally you talk to somebody and you're putting out your problems. And when most of the people I encounter when we're talking about, oh, my problems are worse than your problems. Oh, you got a story?
We don't compare.
Got a sadder story than you.
No.
It's like we don't
compare.
I want to talk, it's not a one-up game.
We can talk about your shit after, but let me talk about mine first.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like I don't like.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't like comparing war stories. I don't like bragging about war stories. There's nothing to brag about.
That's right. And I've heard. So I'm, by the way, Dave, real quick. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a civilian. So I'm James. I'm the only guy in the group that is.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, it's no,
Um,
it's not a big. See that stuff doesn't really bother me. As in when people are knowledgeable about veterans,
mhm.
you're like, even a civilian goes through trauma.
Yep. I was just about to say to you that there's something that we've learned here, and that we try to preach to people is trauma is trauma. But even though
PTSD
trauma
is
is
everywhere.
trauma,
There's just different levels of it.
correct. And even though there's trauma is trauma, here's a reality, something that we all need to recognize. And that is what you were saying. We need to start just listening to each other more. If like what I'm going to give you an example. Like what I was doing with you was I would give you a story with, hey, I am going to validate you and tell you you're not alone because I also had some of the same realizations. And this is how it happened. Right. Like that's different than saying like, oh, what you went through is not real. You know what I mean? Like, and like, oh, this is what I went through. What I went through is worse. And there's no point for that. That's
No.
It's like I'm fucking hurting right now. Like, don't tell me your shit's worse and make me feel worse, right? Like I'm trying to talk, and that's it. And we just need to let people. I think it's a confidence factor too comes into play. Some people feel like, I'm going to try to one up this person so I can be better for me. And it's like, come on, man. Like, that's not what this shit's about.
Well, no, it's 100% an ego boost. When you're talking to those people, that's why I don't like talking to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have this mentality. They're listening for their own self gratification. They're listening so they can respond, and that's just not how conversations work, especially ones that are geared towards bettering someone's mental health. But also, Greg said, back to you, Dave. The fact that you're what you went through with your experiences, and like I said earlier, the fact you overcame them, the fact you continue to have this healthy mindset, you're going to be what you've been through and how you're reacting to it. You're not only going to be able to touch veterans' lives, you're going to be able to reach sexual assault. You can touch so many facets of trauma, especially with how emotionally intelligent you are. You're going to help hundreds, if not that, easily.
And see,
I'm
Dave
screaming it, dude.
And Dave, see you coming in here and letting off, and this is what I was kind of hoping. I wanted you in my corner, but I was secretly hoping you just let out, because I'm telling you, Project Refit is you, and you can be such a cornerstone and pivotal piece with what you've gone through in life and the things you've overcome. Now, I know you look at it as you haven't overcome a lot, and you're just like me. You don't think that we've done a lot, but when you bury it down, man, and you look at the drugs you've overcome, the anger. Just 3 years ago, you were losing your temper. When someone would say anything about PTSD, like you'd lose your shit. Now that's not you. You're so much more calm. You've grown into a dad. You've grown into a husband. And yes, you are still growing. You still have your shortcomings, but look at yourself now from 3 years ago. Now think about this. There's someone where you were 3 years ago battling with the drugs, and you just sharing, hey, I've been there. I'm still dealing with this every fucking day. You could hear it in my voice. I just want to cry. I just want to let it out. Like the chin's quivering, the cheeks, it's like, people hear that and they know they're not alone. And I've had messages from some of my shares on Project Refit. Hey, I just want to let you know, you were in the meeting today, and what you said literally saved my life. Like literally, and you're sharing. And if you continue to come into these meetings, you will not just help yourself out by talking to your brothers and sisters in here, but you will save lives, man. And this may be one of those peaceful things that you need for your center, is to take your trauma, your experiences, your wounds, and turn it into that gold and to help people. And I know you, Dave, and I know how smart and emotional and intelligent you are. And this is your outlet, bro. This is it.
I don't know what to say to that, Greg. I love you, man.
I love you too, brother. I
That's
love you,
it,
man.
baby.
I do.
Hey,
And
Dave.
like, I feel like, being sober too, of like the damages in relationships, I feel like I have a lot of mending to do. Like with mine and Greg's little brother, Willie. I met him at a hard point in my life and he's different. And I just feel like I could fix that relationship with me and him. And you just, that's hard too, of like all these mistakes that I've made, of the vibe I feel of I need to repair these because they deserve to be loved back.
You know what, Dave? And I don't know if it's an actual Thomas Edison quote, but I always say it is, or I use it as an example. Thomas Edison failed the flying the kite and trying to find electricity 999 times, but guess what? Everybody remembers him for that 1000th time. So take all these times that you think you failed, whether it was a failure or not, and take it as a learning experience, because that's what life is. We fail and we cannot learn without failure. Yeah, we do get it right. And when we do get it right, it's almost like working on a truck. You're in there in the engine and yeah, I could have followed the instruction book and, had this done in 45 minutes, but I did it my way and I fucked it up so many times. But now I know every aspect of putting together, an AC unit or an alternator in a vehicle because, I fucked it up and I got it right. Now I know if there's an issue, I know all the ways I fucked it up so I could look for all those issues. Life's the same way, man. We make mistakes, we grow, we learn from our mistakes. That's the key, learning from the mistakes and not repeating them. And some of us, like you and I, we are thick-headed, man. We are stubborn. And that's from our mother. And we will repeat the same mistake 999 times. But just like Ben Franklin, as long as on that 1000th time we get it correct, then that's what counts.
No. Hang on a second.
Oh, here we go.
Hang on a second. So what he was talking about was iteration. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's actual insanity. You don't want to do the same shit over and over again. You want to iterate. And if on the 1000th try of iteration, it works, that means every step of the way was meant to be to become the ultimate manifestation of who you are or the product or whatever it is that you're building or creating, which includes your own mind.
Dave, I don't want you getting lost in that I have to repair what I broke mentality too far. I want to just think of it from a different perspective. You being who you are now is the payment that they probably wanted. You know what I mean? So it's focus on you, focus on doing good for you. I'm not telling you not to do anything. Do what you think needs to be done, but just don't get lost in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, it is one of those things too, like that, as in for me to get away from I packed up from Illinois with 2 duffel bags with my girlfriend, now my wife, and left my entire family that I had in Illinois and went to Arkansas and didn't talk to them for like 2 years to try and get myself straight. And now that I'm straight, and it's like I have this feeling in my heart, I ran away from my problems. Well, because people, places, things wasn't allowing me to get myself together. And now that I'm at the stage in my life now is like I need to fucking make an effort to repair.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. You didn't run away. You set boundaries. You didn't run away. You removed yourself from an unhealthy environment to get yourself healthy. That's not running away.
Yes, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was 30 years old living in my parents' attic. 4 years later, I own a house. I've got, a pool, a great family, 3 stepchildren.
Let's go.
And it's just, and I have to constantly tell myself.
That's for your life right there, man. That
for
is the
your life.
definition
That's what I was
of
gonna
for your
say.
motherfucking
Let's
life, bro.
fucking go. That's what I was gonna say.
I have to constantly remind myself when I get
That's
overwhelmed
beautiful.
and that things are falling apart and fuck this, as in where I was 4 years ago. Come on, Dave, be a little more grateful. Look what you got.
Fuck yes, dude. That's literally, listen, that is for your fucking life right there, bro. Honestly, that made my to hear you said the way you said it, that made my day.
Yeah,
that was amazing. That was amazing. And what a great thing you can say. And yes, actually, someone actually said inside of the chat here, they were like, sometimes family is worse than you think. So sometimes it's the family that's holding you back. Dude, oh my God. I could go on and on and on and on and
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, but it's okay. But it's okay. You have to know what's best for you. And you did that. You did that. Look at you 4 years later. Look at you fucking 10 years later. Go back 10 years ago and think about where you were, bro. Drugs, right? Drugs and shit. Dude, look at where you are. Unfucking
And then I feel like,
believable.
you know, like that, I wasted my 20s. But then I'm like, man, I didn't waste
Nope.
them. I learned
Nope.
shit.
You
That's
learned,
right.
yes.
You
Anyway,
learned.
20s are meant for that.
You have
Yo.
learned.
That's exactly what your 20s are meant for.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Life is
You
so
learned a lot.
crazy. Like, when I think about the past, too, of like, man, why couldn't I have been like who I'm becoming now back then?
Wasn't
Don't
meant
do
to
that.
Be. It wasn't meant to be. That's just
Yeah,
all it is. You
it
weren't meant to
baffles
be this
me.
person back then. That's all it is. That you are now.
And I got a lot of growing to do and a lot more.
Same.
We all do.
I got a lot more work of opening my heart up to where it should be.
Same.
Yes.
I agree with you. There's actually this great nonprofit.
It's called Project Refit.
This other one called Gallant Few, and they do this thing called they tell their guys to create a mission for themselves. It's something that we do too, but like I really like their format, right? They have like a card that they write. What is it? It's basically you're signing that you're never going to kill yourself. It's essentially what it is, right? They say you're going to find your mission, you're going to find your purpose, you're going to find your cause, because you can absolutely have a mission, purpose, cause after the military. And in fact, Dave, I have a suggestion for you. Okay.
Yeah.
You said that you're searching for something. So I have a suggestion and I would like to help support it. Whenever I give an idea, I tell people I'm there to support it because I know I'm the originator of the idea, but you run with it any way that you fucking want. This is it. You have an opportunity with this story that you have. Okay. The shit that you've over fucking come. You have an opportunity to genuinely stand in front of fucking rooms of high school kids, of other veterans, and tell your motherfucking story, dude.
Yeah.
And like grow with it. Grow with it. Because you made it through so much shit. And there's people that are fucking 40, 50, 60 years old even that want to change their lives. And some of them come to the realization, wait, it's not too late. This could be a 60-year-old person. Like, wait, it's not too late. I can fucking change my life because everything else is in the past. I can just change it right now. Right? If they make that decision, they can do that. And I think that you have the story that you have, and that you did that. You decided to do that. And I think you need to start like a fucking blog or start telling people, start like a Instagram account for it, something, dude, because you have a fucking story, my man.
And see what you're saying.
Just
there,
like
too.
a Daily Dave quote, just come in and be like, I'm having a shit day, but you know what? This is what I'm doing for. Or today's a great day, and this is what I'm doing, to look forward,
And that's a fear I dwell on too, of the damage I have done to my heart and my body in my 34 years. How much longer am my body going to live? As in, I'm fucking dumb. As in, like, what I want to make it to my 60s and see who I am. And I don't want to be cut short because of my actions when I was younger, shooting up meth and doing this. And
you can't worry about that.
It just scares me, as in, like, I want to be good, right in my heart before that comes, and spread the love that I feel like I can give that I've never given.
Hey, you're doing it literally right the fuck now. You already started. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get across here is the single moment, and you've already done this, Dave. You're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the curve. This single moment, now I'm talking to everybody else that's listening, this single moment you decide to change your life and you actually act on it, every minute of every day. And that includes the times that you actually fuck up and those minutes and days where you slide, but you know it's not who you are. That's actually when you're beginning to make the change. And Dave, you've been doing that, dude, for years now. You're already there. You already are a different person, a better person.
Thank you.
Hell fucking yeah, man. Sometimes you need a reminder. And I think that's what you needed right now is you needed that reminder, bro, that you really have made it really like I literally just got chills. I feel like you just sent me some hardcore love, dude. That's what I just felt.
Because you literally just made me tear up, bro.
I felt, dude, I'm not joking you. I felt it.
I was sending my heart out there for
Holy
real.
shit. I've never experienced that in my life.
No, I do all the time. Because
dude, I'm literally I have such my
like I got a cold chill.
Dude.
Because I'm like, you had me on the verge of tears.
I got you, homie. I got you, bro.
I believe in that shit. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to make, like, you feel that love.
I felt it, dude. I literally stopped. You didn't say it. Everyone's a witness to some crazy shit right now because you said, I can't see you. I don't even know what you look like or anything like that. You didn't fucking give me any facial cues, nothing. I just felt it in my fucking arms, dude.
Because I swear I was just sending it.
I felt it, bro. I literally just felt it in my fucking chest.
In that, as in that healing energy of,
holy shit.
That's awesome. It
is fucking awesome.
In this path I'm on, you literally just instilled so much belief in myself, as that's where the power is.
Let's go. Let's
awesome.
fucking go. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
That was cool, man. Dude, if I ever get the chance to meet you, I'm giving you a big ass fucking hug, bro.
Oh, for sure.
I'm serious, man. So So Greg, we're going to see Greg June 19th. Where are you going to be?
Oh, I got a wedding June 19th.
Yeah, James is coming down for that Spartan competition that I've been working for.
Yeah, one of my friends I grew up with. He asked me to be his best man in his wedding. I got to go to Illinois.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Dude, yeah, that was fucking crazy. I appreciate you giving that to me, man. I felt it. I feel it, and just know that I'm happy I was able to give that reminder, dude, and that boost because that was incredible. That was incredible.
That was. It just blew me away.
Got you, bro. Damn. This is like, let's take a moment of silence right now. I'm fucking like leaning back and shit.
I'm telling you, James, like Dave can be like, he's gone through so much and he could provide so much help to so many veterans in here. But at the same time, there has to be a realization that, Dave's, he's overcome this, but he's still overcoming stuff as well. He's come so far, but he's like me, he doesn't want to be put on that pedestal. Yeah, I've overcome that, but I'm still have my daily fucking struggles. Yeah. Don't make me look out to be this immaculate person that doesn't have fucking mistakes. I rage out. I do this. I make fucking mistakes too. But hopefully my shortcomings and failures that I've learned from and the stories will help you overcome what you might be in right now. And Dave's got so many of those situations that could help so many people while he's still continuing to strive and create the person he wants to be. But Dave, your stories and stuff is going to solidify you and help you, I think, grow stronger, sharing, your experiences to these other veterans and civilians and helping some of these civilians that come in here. They're like, hey, I got this vet that, he works for me and I'm just trying to understand, his thought process. Because we do get people that come in here and just like, hey, I got someone that works with me that's got major PTSD. I don't want to trigger him. He's a great employee. I just want to try and find, and, people like yourself, myself, and other vets give huge insight. And, you could change lives, man, with what you've overcome. Don't shortchange yourself on what you've overcome and the obstacles you're still climbing over. I don't want to leave that out. The obstacles you are still climbing over.
That's right.
For sure.
Oh, man.
So When I was talking to James and Daniel, not to steal the thunder from my little brother there, I love you. But the reason
Dave needs a minute.
the reason I asked Dave to be here was, he's my rock for some stuff that I want to talk about and share. We talked about where I came up, kind of where Dave came up, and the stuff we did, and you go from what I've went through to where I'm at, and it looks like, almost like that perfect Thanksgiving picture back in the 50s. Got the family dog, the turkey, all that, man. Pictures paint funny, doesn't it? Like when people don't know the battles you deal with on a day, like I'm a sea of emotion being drowned by pills from the VA, like in an ocean of narcotics. I'm just at this sea of emotion in a capsized boat. I think that's, but I had to type in the private chat some things that I've been struggling with some stuff, and as we all do on marriage aspects and other things, what for my life is for me. And my wife and I has been having this battle lately. She doesn't know if family is for her, and I understand that because, and kind of like Dave and I were talking yesterday, and he's like, dude, I didn't know you had those same feelings. I resonate so much more with you because you feel this way or you've gone through that. My wife was in the same thing. Like, almost every day I wonder what my life would be like and how easy it'd be like if I didn't have kids or be part of my family. I could just be in South America backpacking every fucking day, doing all the adventurous shit that I used to. Like, I used to be such a fun, adventurous fucking person, man. And then I became a dad. So now all my time is volunteering and coaching and this and that. So my wife is hitting the stage. She's a great mother, a great wife, but she hit that stage. What would life be like if I was on my own? So that's kind of made our marriage a little rough lately. And it's been hard on me because I've been trying to reconfirm to her. And then once she realized I have these same thoughts at least once a day, she goes, oh my gosh, that makes it so much easier knowing that I could talk to you and you relate to this situation. And so she goes, how do you deal with it? And I tell her, I'm like, looking at these things, wanting what I want for myself is great, and it is selfish. I'm like, I know you didn't get that option, but you have to decide what you want. If you want to go experience life without a family, I'll support that. Like I'm not going to hold you captive. I'm not going to be your captor. I'm like, but we are your family. You decided to raise this family. It doesn't mean you have to lose out on anything. If you want to go travel, we'll make ways for you to travel. If you'd like to do it by yourself or as a family, we got to find ways that you can still take care of you outside the family, because you can't lose just because you're a parent, do not lose your individualism. You are, because it is so easy to get wrapped up in family life that you lose the adventurous, fun person that you once were because you're so focused on day to day. Do not lose who you are because you're trying to do everything for your family and your community.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Greg, let me just say first, holy shit, this has been amazing. And Greg, what you just said, I don't know if you recognize even what I bet, just from what I know about you, you would never have said that a few years ago.
No.
You understand shit a lot better because of what you went through. So Dave, same thing with you, bro. You probably wouldn't be saying this shit a few years ago or feeling the way that you feel, but you can now.
And see, with Greg and his marriage, I was Joni. I was your wife, doing what she's doing, like making my wife feel like questioning what my life would be like sober without her. And so, like, I found myself excluding her from things, and it was really taking a toll on my marriage. And but that was my self-realization of, who would I be without you? Because this woman loves me unconditionally. And it's like where we could be best friends if I just include her. We could travel. We could do everything together. And it's like, I don't know why I was feeling like I needed to be on my own. because I do not want to be alone.
No, think about it, man. Like, and every person watching this that's in a relationship or marriage has these same things, like what would, life be like? But think about it, it's almost like Christmases, right? Or holidays. You're used to having that family and doing these things. Now you're by yourself. It's not the same.
No.
And you make a total life commitment. Like, I was an extreme person, man. Like I was hella dropping out of Valdez for snowboarding. Like I live life, like my adrenaline factor was always up. I was cage fighting, bodybuilding, all this stuff. Like, to now I'm coaching coach pitch baseball and football and cooking for the community center. But I chose this. This is my new aspect to life. This is my new adventure. It doesn't mean I have to cut out all those things that made me who I am. I just got to find a way to get those things and incorporate my family into them as well.
Yeah.
And I talked about the wife and the grass is greener. All right. So this is going to be a tough one for me, and it's going to be really hard for me to admit because I'm such a proud person, and this is why I wanted Dave here going through his stuff. I went through a lot of surgeries, overcome a lot. I went from 402 pounds to I'm down to 271 now. I'm running up to 4 miles almost every day. Just pushing myself. And a lot of that is to Project Refit. Doctors gave me 2 years, 18 months ago. And look at me, they could suck a dick and die slowly. Because if I go out, well, I'm going out at as peak performance as I can. But things are looking good in that aspect. Like things are looking way better than they expected. And James really sticking it to me and getting that Spartan ticket. And it's like, now you don't have an out, homie. You have to you have to do it. So
awesome.
Damn right.
I've been pushing myself. So 1, I don't let Project Refit down. And 2, I know I'm not going to be able to do all the courses on that Spartan, but I just want to make it across the finish line.
You will.
That's my key, is to make it across that fucking finish line. And then knowing that I have Project Refit battle buddies there is pushing me even harder,
I'm gonna be sucking dick for dollars right there with you, Greg. Don't worry.
Yo,
that's awesome. I would love to do one of those sometime. Like,
come on out with us, dude.
Let's make it happen.
The next one is.
That's awesome.
Yo, Dan, we're gonna get that truck. We're gonna get that bitch wrapped, and we're gonna drive out there. And we're going to be right there with Greg, big time.
No,
yes,
it's going to be awesome.
So this is where it comes hard for me because I don't have a problem admitting when I'm wrong, but there's certain things, because I do coach and people do look up to me. There's certain things I don't like to put out there because, one, well, it could fuck with my volunteer status and coaching, especially people. But fuck it, people need to know. And so if this gets me, kicked off stuff, I don't give a fuck, because people need to know that, all the kids that I coach put me up here, all their parents, oh, you do so much, but they don't realize the struggle that I have day to day to either make a schedule or, having brain damage, not remembering stuff, and constantly the stress. And I do these things and I volunteer to keep me busy so I don't dwell in my demons and self-pity. If I'm not busy, I become toxic. And, that's something I just can't have happen, especially with all the forward progress I've made. James, do not let me forget to get into the drugs and booze thing, but something just kicked into my mind, and it's going to relate to a lot of anger and frustration and a huge fight my wife and I just had. And 99% of this fight was me in feeling my own inadequacies, especially Dan, Dave, you guys will understand this. Dave, you and I talked about it yesterday. Yeah. So any words of advice you have to put out to anyone, please do. My wife and even my psychologist and my therapist ask, why does everything have to be perfect with you? Yeah. Meaning, now that I'm the stay-at-home parent for the last year and a half because I had to leave my job due to all the seizures and being in a wheelchair and stuff, as a stay-at-home parent, I think the house should be immaculate for when the working parent comes home, things like that. And, my wife, we got in this fight and my wife's awesome. She goes, don't do anything during the day. Focus on your graphic design. Focus on your gaming. Enjoy it. You have 6.5 hours. I'm like, I don't. And this is where I blew up. I completely lost it. And this is me. She told me I had 6.5 hours. So what do I see? Oh, she thinks I just have all this fucking free time that I don't fucking do anything. That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Shit.
So
Not
is
hers.
that my own self fucking guilt? More than likely. Like me thinking that there's more that I could be doing when she's telling me, she's legitimately telling me don't do anything. And we have a family chore list. You don't have to do it. When we get home, we all do our family chores. You put it on yourself to make this. But I mean, there's still phone calls, doctor's appointments, little things that take up time, little 5-10 minute tasks. You got 20, 30 of those a day. So that's all feeding into my mind. I'm like, I don't have 6 fucking hours. Do you think I have 6 hours of fucking free time? So then in my mind, I'm amping myself up. And dude, I lost it. Like she was just like, what's wrong with you? And it felt like she was just poking me and I was trying to walk away. And she's like, why aren't you talking to me? And you're so upset about this. And I was just saying that you need to take less stress off yourself. And dude, I lost it. And never in my 10 years of being married to her have I lost it and like hit anything. And I punched a hole straight through the fucking door. And her and my daughter saw it, and the look on their face when I was away from them, of course, but it's like I was walking away and it felt like someone was just throwing pebbles at me. And I just, trying to get away from the situation, there was a door and I punched it and I turned around and that look of fear just devastated me. And I never want to see that again. And I've usually done pretty well, at keeping my temper and stuff in check. But it's like, did my own self inadequacies and self-guilt thinking I don't do enough feed into that? And this is where I'm coming to you guys for that advice.
I think you guys have had a lot happening in the last month or so, right? I think it's an accumulation of all of that. But back to what you said earlier, it has to be perfect. Why does it have to be perfect, Greg? Because if it isn't, back in when we did our shit, if shit's not perfect, somebody dies. So that's transitioning over till now. Now, I think we're through all of our conversations, there's things we need to keep from the military and there's things we need to fucking kick the fuck to the side. It being perfect, I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. Now, the reaction to when it's not perfect is what matters. But yeah, I think you're just very stressed. Honestly, I think you're wound up, and it was a self-conscious little lapse real quick, and that just sparked it maybe. But you guys have had a lot going on. It's a lot more than just this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that the other things also could definitely be playing a part, but I don't think you wanting the house perfect for the working parent to come in, I don't think that's
So like when she's giving me the free pass to like not do anything during the day except do my streaming and the graphic design and build our company, she's like, you have 6 hours a day, because she's like, I had an order and I was making $1,500. Like I got, as I've been doing this graphic design and building up contacts and, networking, I got an order for a big arrow company, like a bow and arrow company. But I had a time crunch. So I had like 3 days to get all these logos and stuff for their website built and all their etching stuff and stuff for their shirts. And so I was cranking out my, hey, love, I got this. I landed us a good contract. And so, one of the things my wife used to have an issue with is, like most vets, we can't go to bed at 8 o'clock most of the time. We're up, but I used to stay up and game late at night with my Army buddies. And she said that was an issue. She wanted someone in bed with her to hold her, help her fall asleep. So I make conscious efforts when I see her go to bed, try to shut down the whole house, get in there, hold her, even if I'm wide awake, I'll hold her till she falls asleep, at least an hour after she falls asleep. Then I'll get up if I have to,
Right, exactly.
But I took 3 days where I was trying to get this time crunch done. I had that one job, and then I had 5 other jobs of some gamers that wanted stuff done, and all from word of mouth. So like I had this time crunch, and I was going to make $1,500 in 3 days work, and so I was up till 2-3 in the morning working on this stuff. And one of the days she's like, hey, I'm not feeling well. My shoulder's a mess. So I rubbed her shoulder and I was like, well, would you like a muscle relaxer? She goes, yeah. So like I give it to her at like 7. And I figure, she'll be out at 7:30. So, I give that to her and she goes into bed. She's relaxing. I got everything set. I got the kids relaxed. So I'm working on this and I work till 2, 3 in the morning. And then I see this message, hey, you're starting to fall into old routines. And so felt like an attack. Hey, I'm making this conscious effort to come to bed. Well, not that it's like I have to force myself to cuddle my wife. I don't.
You're prioritizing.
I make it as soon as I see she's ready for bed. I make it an effort to make sure I'm in bed with her, and it just didn't feel that was reciprocated because we're building a business, and any person that has a successful business will tell you don't build a business with 40 hours a week. You build a successful business with 80 to 100 hours a week, to get it up and going. It's not just a 9 to 5. You have to put in the effort, the networking, all that. So that's what I've been doing, and it just felt like none of that was looked in. And then, you have 6.5 hours during the day to do that. Well, first of all, 6.5 hours a day is not going to build up. But it felt like an attack, and I think it was my own thinking I wasn't doing enough and not providing enough, and my own self-conscious inadequacies that made me lash out in an aggressive manner.
So I understand the growing a business thing and the attacks that come along with that big time. So it's hard to, and it's normal for you to feel like you're not giving enough, you're not doing enough or whatever. And you're right. People don't understand that when you're building something, special, big, whatever, that you're replacing what could be a 40-hour work week to get your free, to be like, oh, you're just doing whatever you want, building your own business or whatever. But you can't just give up. You can't just stop. Your time, actually, you lose time, but you're doing what you love. So you're actually gaining time too. People don't get that. So keep up those boundaries, but also keep on loving who loves you. And I think that making time to be in bed with her is a beautiful thing. But maybe wake up earlier and get your work done in the morning so you can spend time with her at night.
And see, that's the flip side, because I wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And so she wants me in bed with her at night. It's almost like a catch-22. But if I get up early, I get yelled at, oh, you get up and you get on your electronics instead of cuddling. And she's not a morning person. So I try and cuddle her in the morning. I catch the elbows, the grunts, but she still wants that. But so I have to come to bed with her, but I can't get up early to start the work, because if I do, oh, you're on your electronics and you're not giving me attention.
You got to also set that boundary. You got to be like, look, I'm making time as much as I can for you, but I also have to build this up. It's real stuff, man.
It's easier said than done. Talking to your wife about things like that. And with punching the door, Greg, I hear you there. I've been there, as in I lost control of myself because I felt like I wasn't being heard, or you're not you're making what you're trying to say about the situation, making it about her. She'll make it about her. It's it's not about you. It's about me. I'm trying to tell you how I feel, and you're not listening to me. And boom, there's a hole in the wall. I've done it. And it's man, I'm dumb. Why'd I do that? It's lost control.
Yeah.
And
it's as soon as you do it, you're just oh my gosh, what the fuck did I just do?
I'll catch myself getting overwhelmed, and I will stop myself now and being whoa, Dave.
Yeah.
Look how you look at yourself. I'm man, why did I let that just rub me like that?
And then
trying to recognize when you're in that overwhelmingness.
Yeah, man.
And
it's hard. But I got to get off here, guys. I got to pick my wife up from work.
Yeah, no, that's good. This is actually I think a good time for us to call it. I think this was a really special fucking.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again, because Greg he has more he wants to talk.
Oh, that's all right. We got Friday. I could talk about it on Friday. We'll have a hyped Friday night meeting.
We got to clear. Honestly, our podcast schedules. We could fit a couple more in like this.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, we could definitely do that again.
I'm down for Friday. That's awesome, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, bro.
Dave, you
Yeah,
feel better?
we'll get Dave in here on Friday with us Friday night and have a good.
I'll have to go get me a camera.
yeah.
Heard that. Yeah,
All right,
dude, that's what we do. So I'm gonna call it right here. This is a really special episode. Something happened I never fucking felt before.
Longest and best one.
Yeah,
No,
this
great.
is amazing. Dave, thank you for sharing your incredible story, dude. Your journey, your actual amazing growth. Greg, same shit with you, bro. Always a pleasure to have you on here, to be so open, honest, real, and raw. I mean, that's what we all can kind of learn from here, is that, you know, you can be open, honest, and raw. You can let it out. You can do that. It's okay to fucking cry. Who gives a shit? If you need to let it out, let it out.
We're adults here.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Like,
I was separated from my brother for 28 years, and how much we have in common just in life and who we are, of, you know, not even being around each other.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You can tell your
Fucking
brothers.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I love you, bro.
I could grow the facial hair, but he's got the looks.
I got that Robert Plant hair.
He's got those luxurious locks.
All right.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Dan, for
Signing
having
out.
me in here. I appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg.
And I'm going to end it actually with this right here. Dave, I think you're going to like it. This is a perfect time to drop this quote. It's a Wage War quote. Great metal band. Hate is a cancer. Love is the answer. Let's go. See you, everybody.
Cheers.
See you.